It's a great day in SimWorld, everybody. Good morning and welcome to SimWorld Today. I'm B-Ron. Alongside me on this fabulous Friday is my co-host Yells. Good morning and happy Friday.
Happy Friday, man. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, man, I am ready to. Let's jump right into some SWBA talk, shall we? Talk about SGA
Oh,
and his potential, rise to being a MVP candidate, perhaps.
and rightfully so. My man is balling. 31 points, almost 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 55% from the field. You're watching the highlight package right here. He has really developed his game. He can get points from anywhere on the court. He's a three-level scorer. Look at that. His handles are just incredible and it's effortless. It's seamless. But most importantly, B-Ron, he's getting it done, making his team better. And how much better, you might ask? They are number 2 in the Northwest Division right now, 27 and 13. They're on a little bit of a skid right now, but they're just looking good. SGA, it's been a while coming. I would say it's been a couple of seasons. People have been talking about him being on the rise, and I remember when people were first talking about him coming out of college, and I was like, is he really that good? But here we are, and he's
Yeah.
definitely in the conversation. Is he going to get it over a Jokic or a Joel Embiid after what we just saw? I doubt it. But he's in the conversation. That's all you can ask for.
Absolutely, yeah, and he was a former Canadian basketball player. He played over there in the Canadian Professional League over there, as well. And to see the rise that he's been on over the last couple of seasons, it's it makes for a great story too. He's 25 years old. He's got plenty of time to get himself MVP awards, but it's good to have him being in the conversation if we can say that sort of thing. You know what I mean? It's fun to watch and it's fun to be a part of and pay attention to that storyline if you're following along with his journey through the course of him getting to this point. This is a bit of vindication for those people
Yeah,
in some regards, anyway.
yeah. I mean, you know what the best part about the story of SGA is for me? It's just the work that he put in and the steady progress and incline of his career. He came in season
Hmm.
one, putting up almost 11 points a game, showed great talent. And that's when people were talking about what he could be, and I'm like, what? But he did look good in moments. He got a little more freedom. Season two, he started putting up. What's that?
I don't know.
Oh, look, the audio's coming through. Sorry about that. That really threw me for a loop. Yeah, you hear that? The
I
production,
don't.
I'm sorry, the audio's in my ear, threw me for a loop. Anyhow, 19 points a game. Excuse me. It's Friday, y'all. 19
Yeah.
points a game in season two. 6 rebounds, 3 assists. And it's like, oh, what could he get with more minutes? But he was already playing about 35 minutes a game. Next season,
Right.
same exact minutes, same position put out on the court. He upped his average to 24 a game, and
Jeez.
still getting boards and assists. Now he's up to about 6 assists a game. So you say, where does he go from here? Next season, season number 4. 24 and a half points a game. Still diamond, still grabbing boards, still shooting great percentages and leading the team to valiant records, 24 and a half points. And you're like, okay, he's about peaked out. I'm like, hey, this is all inflation nation. The way basketball's played now, that's how stuff works. The accelerated possessions or the extra possessions have led to this new thing that where we talk about people's stats like they're phenomenal, and I do think that plays a factor. But he went to 31 points a game, and that's no easy thing. There's not a lot of guys averaging that.
No, that's not. No.
OKC plays a up tempo game, but he's really leading that. So you're like, okay, he's plateaued. Like, my goodness. So here we come this season. 31 points a game again. He's upped his rebound game. He's upped his assist game. It's just incredible. He's clearly a great player because he's worked himself into this B-Run, and we've watched the steady progression. And not to we're talking SWBA right now, but to you SimWorld prep
Right.
kids, you college kids, this is what it's all about. Not everyone is a star, and I think he's the perfect example when you look at how you work on your game, you take the opportunities, and you mark progression instead of marking everything else. I'm rooting
Yeah,
for him.
exactly, exactly. There's a dichotomy in all of this too, because you mentioned not everyone's a star, but not everyone, and also to that point on the flip side, not everyone starts as a star either.
Not at all.
You know, in high school, you could be a kid who averages, 5, 10 points a game, and sure, that's solid. And as you get older, get to develop your skills and everything, you can become a star as your career progresses. So just because you're down low now doesn't mean you'll stay that way forever, but you have to put in the work to get to that point. You don't just that there's a it's called a rise for a reason. You have to get there, put the work in to get there, and SGA is doing that this season, and we'll see where he continues to go and if he stays in that conversation for MVP, and maybe if he wins it by chance. I don't think it happens with
No.
Embiid and Jokic playing the way they are. But
Giannis,
right, Giannis, but he'll stay in the conversation perhaps, and that's what you need sometimes. Be in the conversation because
Jason
that'll keep
Tatum.
you in people's minds
Yeah.
for the next season.
B-Ron, I'm looking at the stats, not to get off the Shy Gilgeous Alexander praise. I'm sitting there, who'd have thunk it? Oh my God, the defending champs are number 3 in the standings out in the West right now. The Lakers are sitting in number 10, and the top 2 teams in the West are the Minnesota Timberwolves
Yeah,
and the Oklahoma
and the
City
Oklahoma
Thunder.
City Thunder. Yeah, we were
Oh,
talking before the show off air, and I was like, "Who the Thunder?" jokingly, because
boy.
I remember them being, not that great. But I do remember when they had, Durant and Russell Westbrook and James Harden early in the life cycle of the Thunder,
Well, they've
and then they
been
kind of fell off for a bit.
they've been young and building, and they've built a solid core. I mean, look at them this year. And then Chet Holmgren
Hmm.
is absolutely balling too. That's your rookie of the year. Yeah, I said it. That
Yeah,
is your rookie of the year. But the top 2 teams, Oklahoma City and Minnesota
Timberwolves,
Timber.
like,
I love Anthony Edwards, but oh my God, the rest of that team. Oh, I can't take it. I can't take it. Listen, we got to move on before I have an aneurysm here. This is crazy.
yeah. Let's keep moving here so you don't go too crazy. Let's switch gears though, y'all. Let's talk about some SimWorld prep now, shall we?
Let's do it.
Bad Boys, Bongus, and Paganati. They played
Eggs.
SimWorld Africa yesterday, and that was a really fun game there. It was a Pierre Dupont getting
Yeah.
a dunk there, dunk to his own.
I don't know
Now
if it
here's
was
Sam
that.
Bogus.
I don't know if it was too fun for Africa. Let's be honest.
Well, yeah,
They got
yeah,
trounced.
yeah. For Africa, no,
They got trounced.
They-
There's no need to try
they
and elongate out
They
this
did.
package, B-Ron. Don't try and make this. Don't try and make this something that it wasn't. They got mashed.
Yeah, but Paganati hit a 3-pointer there at the buzzer, take it in the halftime, and in the fourth quarter, something for them to cheer about a little bit here. But like you said, Yells, not a whole lot for Africa to cheer about in this one. They got blown out handily, 74-55, and again, Go Paganati and Samuel Bogus combined and put up 40 together. 40 points.
Yeah,
together.
just about 20. I think 48.
48 points. Yep.
Yeah, 48.
Two of them.
That backcourt is looking stout. At the beginning of this season,
Yeah.
everybody seemed to forget about Bo Pagnotti, except for the Pagnotti posse. And everyone
They don't
was like,
forget.
hey, I've heard it. Samuel Bogus is the best pure point guard in all of SimWorld Prep, meaning the best high school prep point guard in all the world. And I think there's some people that have something to say about that, but he's playing excellent. 21 points, 5 assists. But people forgot about Bo Pagnotti. He put up 27 points in 22 minutes. He's been coming off the bench for this team, saying, "I don't give a damn where you play me. I'm gonna go get buckets." And he
Right,
did just
exactly,
that. 3 for 3 from deep, 11 for 15. The kid goes to the rack. He's one of the most athletic kids that I've seen. He's not out there dunking all over everybody, but he's shifty. He uses his body well. I like how he goes about his business. And the Bad Boys are just. They're a great team, but I could talk about Bo Pagnotti and Samuel Bogus all day long. And I'm gonna talk about something that we're not supposed to talk about. I'm gonna say this. They play out in Michigan. They play in a pretty rough area. And these two kids, they may not fit the culture of the area they're in, but they are going to work. And they're like, hey, yeah, I have a place on this court. Both of us, we're gonna outplay y'all. It's behind, and they went into Africa.
Yeah,
They went into
right?
Africa and thoroughly outplayed Africa, and Africa is looking bad, to be honest. They're not looking good.
Yeah, well, look, man. I agree. You're right. You're right. But we gotta let's talk about Bad Boys. Just for a minute, keep it on theme here. They're 5-5, 5-5 now on the season, sitting at 500, right there, which is good. Which is good. But is this a sign of things to come for them? Because they Pagnotti and Bogus looked really good yesterday, as we just talked about. And for the past few seasons, they've going back to the Ground Zero season. Even they were a team that was always kind of middle of the pack. You never really knew what to make about them, that kind of thing. But with what they're doing this season so far, I know they're here in the middle of the pack once again. But is this a sign of things to come for Bad Boys? Can they get over that hump of just being good enough, just being 500, and make a run in this tough Founders region?
No. I don't think they're gonna get over a hump per se. I think they're just gonna be a hard out. Anytime someone's playing, it's gonna be a tough game. Yeah,
Yeah.
Malcolm Chamberlain is a dog. He's an absolute dog. So no matter what you're
Mhm.
able to do when it comes to Samuel Bogus, if Sam Bog has a rough night and he's struggling from the field, and let's say he's kicking it out to whoever else on the team, and they're not hitting. Let's say Bo Pagnotti's not in the game, and he's
Mhm.
not really rolling, but he has been. It's tough enough to stop those two on the perimeter. But if you are able to stop them, they have a guy by the name of Malcolm Chamberlain in the middle who's going to make
Yeah,
your life hell
absolutely.
offensively.
Yeah.
And then
Owen
add to
Pride can too.
who's that? That yeah,
Owen Pride.
I was just getting ready to name him
Yeah.
and Owen Pride.
Wait, Thunder.
And then let's not forget they have a kid on the team named Trapper Die. Trapper
Die.
Die. Like in the words of Young Jeezy, you can trap
Absolutely.
or die. Trap or die. And he's not
Absolutely
playing.
outlandish name.
Yeah,
Diabolical name.
but he's been playing great. And then last but not least, Trey Greer goes and gets buckets. So if you
Hmm.
shut everyone else down, please don't forget about Trey Greer. They're a tough out night after night, B-Ron, an exceptionally tough out, and they're going to play hard. They're
Yeah.
going to be hard, tough, hard-nosed defense like I talk about. But the hump, getting over the hump, I don't think they just have enough firepower. I think there's nights like this where you'll see their backcourt explode, but there's not enough to go around. They're one dimensional on offense and they're one dimensional on defense. Just some nights those dimensions are going to be better than other teams.
Yeah. So you still think they'll be a middle of the pack sort of
You know,
team?
when they play the more elite teams, they're going to struggle.
Yeah. I think you're right in that regard. I do think that they'll still be in that middle of the pack, which again, it's not a bad place to be. But they've been there for the past going on 3 seasons now here in SimWorld Prep. You think at some point they take that jump, but I don't think it'll be this season either. Let's keep rolling though. Staying with the SimWorld Prep talk. Lakeshore Drive. They just love playing in overtime games. Apparently, they love doing that. And they went down to Mexico to play SimWorld Latin America, and those teams put on the show. Akiama Rebello there hit a deep three-pointer, and D'Angelo Jordan doing his thing as well from deep, responding with one of his own. And here's Norman Nations
This game was
going
a
and getting.
showdown. You're
It really was.
you're not giving it
Yep,
enough
and then
energy, B-Ron. This was
and
a
then
barn burner
yeah,
right from the beginning.
yeah, and then look, to win the game, Red Johnson couldn't get it done. They ended up going into overtime, and Lakeshore Drive ended up getting it done in overtime, 89-84.
Offensive explosion from Latin America to put up 84 points when they've struggled to get buckets all season. LSD known to play defense. I don't know if it's a little bit of a hangover from the games that they've had to play over the last week and a half because they've won some
Yeah,
tough ones.
it has.
Defensively, did not look so great in this, giving up 84 points. I'm kind of blown away that they were pushed to the limit like this by Latin America. But
Yeah,
hats off to Latin America. Richard Hennessy, 23 points, only 3 rebounds. A little odd there. A lot of slip action on the pick and roll. Lakeshore Drive had a hard time defending that. Red Jointner went to work near triple double. Don't even want to sleep on
hmm
that. 22 points, 9 boards, 7 assists. He went to work on the pick and roll as well. Him and Hennessy, they were just a tough duo to stop. And then Castaneda got on the glass. You had Akiyama Revelo. I don't know if I'm saying that right. He's been shooting just blistering from deep lately and continued 5 of 7.
Absolutely.
But it wasn't enough. Again, I keep
Nope.
saying the same thing. LSD, you got D'Angelo Jordan, just a modest 22 points. Um,
A
not
cool
enough.
22.
Yeah, but not an efficient night. He only shot 40%. Was that Latin America defense, or was that just him missing because they put up 89 points? But
Right.
despite that, Norman Nations, 23 points, 7 assists. He was efficient. He hit all 5 of his threes. Don't forget about Norman Nations, face the Nations. Kiri Holtzclaw with a solid double double, 12 and 14,
Absolutely. Yeah,
and
love that double stat
and then
line.
Zay Gore, right on the heels of his own triple double, 19, 7, and 8. That's rebounds and assists, by the way, in case anyone forgot about him. The team, hey man, in the words of is it Daz Band or whoever? This team is stacked. There's some bad man pajamas. Hey man, they're tough. They're
Yeah,
tough.
they are.
Rosante
They
Vance
are
got them
really,
rolling,
really
man.
tough. Yeah, are with all this talk, and now they're 8-2 with the win. They are sitting in first place in the Founders region, but does that make them, in your opinion, the new favorites in that Founders region? I'm still gonna say no, as long as the OGs, the Cooper Flag, and Beats the East are in that region. They're not my personal favorites to win the region. But what about you?
Nah, I can't put them there. That's a tough region. Everybody wanted to talk all that talk about the southern region. I said it. I stand on it, and I repeated that the Founders region is tough, man. You got to get through the Philadelphia's defense. They've won
Hmm.
4 straight Beast of the East defending champions. They've stepped up and won the big games when they needed to. You got the OGs and Cooper Flag, and they haven't even put it all together yet. They just been winning sheerly off of talent and not even really cohesiveness. You get out, and then we just finished talking about Bad Boys. That's a tough win every
Yep.
night. And after all of that, you got Lakeshore Drive sitting on top of the division. I can't. I have a hard time putting them in front of Beasts of the East or the OGs right now. But you keep winning. The record's the record. They're gonna make it hard for us to argue soon.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I understand that for sure, man. Well, let's wrap up the show talking about some
No,
SimWorld U.
no.
I know, man. I know. We gotta talk about SimWorld U though, because there's a lot of teams in that top 10, especially that are looking good. Some are looking good. Some aren't where you might expect them to be. UConn at number 1, 13-1. Baylor number 2, 12-3. Villanova 11-2, number 3. Kentucky 8-0. Kansas 9-3. Creighton 10-3. Indiana 10-3. Illinois 10-3. Ohio State 11-3, and Xavier is 11-2. That's your top 10 in SimWorld U right now.
Yeah,
Which one of those teams is your favorite? Yells.
my favorite.
Yes,
I like UConn. I like UConn.
that's fair.
Yeah, Hassan Abdallah, great post defender. Cole Morris, I was a big fan of him when he was at the North a few seasons back. He
Yep.
started showcasing his real skill there. Big Kevin Sullivan. Big Kevin
Kevin
Sullivan.
Sullivan.
Yes, I thought that at one point he was going to go into wrestling. I know he's still entertaining that, so I have an
Yeah.
affinity for that there.
Hmm.
But he's actually showcasing his post ability there. And then just one of my favorite players from SimWorld Prep for Reed Redmond, getting buckets routinely. I think they have all the pieces together, and I'm a big fan of Coach Hurley's. So that's my favorite, UConn, as it is.
Understandable. Understandable. That's fair. That's fair. So for those who know, Maryland it is my college team. They're not in this top 10, but Kansas is, and Kansas is my other favorite team in college basketball. So that's my personal favorite in that top 10, and they've got some solid players on their roster too. Dino Ahern from SimWorld from SimWorld Prep back in the Ground Zero season. Madison Miles the third is over there. Camden Gilroy's over there as well. They've got some solid players on that team. I I don't know if they'll be in that conversation in when it comes to Final Four time necessarily, but you can get hot at any point in time. March is right around the corner. We're a few months away from it, so and now's the time to talk about starting to get hot, putting it together, that sort of thing. But I think that for me, Kansas out of the top 10 teams here in this list is my favorite because they are my secondary favorite team. So yeah, medium
Okay,
bias, whatever you will, but leave me alone. All
fair
right.
enough. We're allowed to like teams too. Come on, man. We're not in the front office. Be wrong. What was that? What was that? That motto, the team motto you were saying earlier. I wasn't aware of it.
Yes. Rock chalk Jayhawk.
What the hell does that mean? Someone put it in the chat so I can know what that means. It makes no sense. You might as well say
Fog
limity
Allen
snickets
Fieldhouse,
to me.
man.
It's the same thing. What are you talking about?
Yeah, they have a they I'm gonna take y'all back real quick, real quick. Um, I'm a video game guy, as y'all know. College Hoops 2K8. Anybody remember that game? If you don't, I got you. So in that game, when you played at Kansas at the beginning of the game, they would play the fight songs, that kind of stuff, and they were chanting Rock Chalk Jayhawk, but it was more like think like Gregorian chant style, and it was interesting, but I don't know what again that actually means. If it means anything in particular, but that's just something that was something cool, and I liked it. So look, yeah.
We'll get
Plus,
somebody on
Kansas
it.
was so dominant early in the early 2000s. Brandon Rush was over there. They had Kirk Heinrich over there at one point. A few other guys that were over there.
Don't tell me
So
you were a
yeah,
Rafe LaFrentz fan.
Ray full of friends. Uh it's cool.
All right, it's time to end the show. It's time to end the show.
That's
It's
fine.
time.
That's fine. Well, look, we got some changes coming up for the show. Starting next week, yells.
Yeah.
It'll be this episode today is your last episode on the show with me. Potentially you'll still be around. I'm sure. Probably come on as a guest some point in time. I'm gonna
Y'all
miss
will
doing the
see me.
show with you
Yeah.
on the daily. But I'll have some more co-hosts coming in and taking over Yell's spot. We're moving to a new time as well, but we'll save that for later in the day. Until then, you guys, Yells actually for the final time. Why don't you do the outro?
Hey, it's been great being here. It's been fun having to being a part of you guys this morning. But you guys are in good hands with B Ron and some of the other crew that'll be coming in. But it's just because I leave, there's no reason for anything to stop. As always, you start your morning. Whatever it is you want, you go get it. You know what? You got to visualize it. You got to see it before you can be it. See the game, be the game. Next time.
Yep, we'll see you Monday.
This has been a presentation of SimWorld Sports.